I would just take it as a break and get to know other posts and other officers, and not really the officers, but the inmates and the setups and stuff like that. So they think they was punishing me. They was giving me a relief. So I just took it as that, because they want to show you, how much pull they got in jail. Yeah, you got so much pull. You running drugs for this person, so you don't got that much pull. You can't even save yourself. You know. So but yeah, if just watch Deb Johnson and Deb Canty, because they put people in positions, and if they don't put the person, they get to know the person. They get to know all the secretaries, even in other departments. Because I'm sure they got family in NYPD. They got it in the retirement area. They got it in different areas of the city. You understand? And when you point fingers, you can't point fingers at people who have years and years in the system. You understand? So they relying on the fact that they put in a lot of years and never got caught. And they use all that to say, it's not me, it's them. I'm here trying to stop the drugs. No, you're trying to bring in the drugs. Because when I first realized it, I couldn't believe it, because, you go through so much as a person to get that job. And how come when you get the job, you know, you turn? It's because they blackmail you. They do tricks like, okay, one time I received, when they interviewed, they said, do you know anybody in jail? At the time, I didn't know anybody in jail but one person. And I gave the person's name. About a year later, I received a letter from the person. This person hasn't written me in years. And what do you have to do as an officer? And I'm going to tell you, officer, if you're listening to this, you hand in the letter. You let them know this person has contacted you and stuff like that. And maybe that's how they get people to start selling their drugs, or whatever. They do these little tests. Like they sent me the letter to see if I would report it or whatever, or if I would write the person back or whatever. I didn't write the person back. I just, went into the office and I told them that I received a letter from somebody that I knew in the jail system, but not, but I think they was upstate or out of state or something. So, they do all that to see. And when you fail that test, maybe they go in on you. Oh, I got something on you, and so and so and so and so. I just need you to do me this favor. And then that favor turned into a full-time job. Because now they have something against you. They use it for you, and now they're recruiting you. And I'm just trying to figure out, how do these officers get sucked in to being drug mules for these people? And as an officer, I couldn't believe it, because, for the most part, you have some hardworking people and regular folks who with families and stuff like that, as officers. But then there's the other crew who can't leave their street lifestyle in the street. Because maybe that's what they was doing on the street and never got caught, so they don't have a record. So, they get bypassed. So when they do become officers, I'm talking about NYPD and CD, because with NYPD, it's a whole other stuff, but it's the same concept. You dealing drugs for your family, and you protecting your family. So with NYPD, they the protection for their family. The inside, they know who's going to get arrested, where the drugs is at, and this who's doing the drugs. So they tell they crooked family who's getting the drugs, so they can go rip off that person and this and that, and they hide behind a badge. And with corrections, it's like it's an internal thing. I never really understood how they made money. Somebody tried to explain to me that the person on the outside paid for the person in. I said, I don't want to know. I'm like, how can you make money selling drugs to drug addicts? Some of these people don't even have families. How do you make money? But I don't want to know. I don't want to know the explanations. But they was like, oh, the cigarettes is worth more in the jail than it is when outside on the street and so and so. I'm like, I try to understand, but I really don't want to understand. I don't want to know. But, the investigation department in PD and the investigation department in corrections, they need to look at the white shirts. They really need to. In PD, it's the officers. In corrections, it's the white shirts because you have to get in and out the island, and it's a maze going in and out the island. You have to know who's at what position at what time, and usually it's the white shirts. What's this? See all these. I'm wondering which you call it. My down covers is thinking. Yeah, so it's the white shirts. With PD, I dealt with because I was having some issues with PD, and it's the blue shirts because they're the one who comes to your house when there's a call, and they want to puff up their chest and well, I'm an officer and you can't do nothing, you can't get past me, and and they use their badge, because every time I called PD for instances that happened to my house, and I couldn't get nothing out of them. Why? Because I guess they heard that I'm a troubled person. I can't be intimidated, and they on the take. You understand? So therefore, they all have to stick together. You understand? Their family is into drugs and or whatever, and thing. But investigations, I want to help you guys. It's not just the officers. Officers is just a minor part of it. They just get the drugs in, and not most of the time. 'Cause the depths most of the time get it in, but it's the depths who tell them make the moves about the distribution, who to give it to, because they already set up their little clique of who they can trust. And they know who they can trust behind the gates, which is the inmates. Because they have the whole rap sheets. They know the person. They get to know the person. Maybe it's their family member. Maybe it's a close friend. Now, if you were an inmate behind the scenes, um, who would you trust? You would trust a family member. You would trust someone close to you. So that's why with the little organization with the Deb Canty, I just read her. I just read her when before I even had any issues with her. I just read her. I saw her coming. She wanted to move up that ladder as fast as she can, and blackmail was her game. And then she's moving drugs in the jail, and she's getting all the people that she know that she can trust, which in the Haitian world you can only trust Haitians. That's one thing about the Haitians. They only trust when it comes to certain things. When it comes to the drug business, they only trust themselves. You know, in order to get any drugs from, you have to be Haitian, and then they distribute it to whoever, whatever the case may be. They get the underling to distribute to whoever. But on the higher up ladder of getting it in, and yeah, they only deal with they own. I'm not saying all the Haitian officers was on take. They wasn't, but she had her clique. Deb Johnson had her clique. She would get to know Deb Johnson. She would get to know all the secretaries in each department, on and off the jail. So that was her thing, knowing the secretaries or inputting the secretaries at certain jobs. Even in different agencies of the city. You understand? The retirement center, NICES, housing. You understand? You get to know certain people, and the secretaries to the top brass in these agencies is usually somebody who knows what's going on in the area. So she used to get to know all the secretaries, if she didn't already know them, of all the wardens and all the other depths of the other jails and stuff like that. That was her thing. And then, of course, the Spanish crew had they people with the kings and the Spanish bloods. So everybody had they thing going on. I just used to sit back and watch. I'm like, it's like a dance. If you're not paying attention, you would just think it's an ordinary day. But an officer like me, you be like, really? You just sit back and watch. So, while they was bothering me, that's all I did. So while she telling me she don't want me to do this and do that, whatever, I used to sit back and watch. I said, let me see how she get the drugs up in here. For real. And I sat there and watched Officer Burks. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then if the female depth is going this way, I'm trying to go the other way. But what they used to do, they see that I was ignoring them all the time, so they used to come on my post. Officer G, what's up? How you doing? Can you walk with me? And they walk in, and I used to be like, all right, do your 10-minute stroll and let's go, get out. But they sending you a message. They sending you a message. Anyways, to all the officers who don't want to get in the game, keep good notes. Keep good notes. I'm telling you. Because if you haven't been asked, they soon going to ask you. Keep good notes.